All right, welcome back to our Be Strong show. I am your host, Michelle Shirley, CEO and Chief Heart Officer for Be Strong International. Listen, we are doing some amazing work right now within the community. We want you to join us to be a part of all the wonderful things that we are doing. If you don't know who we are teaching everything about heart skills when it comes to families, when it comes to parenting, when it comes to married couples, when it comes to young people, just understanding their passion and their purpose when it comes to relationship development. We are doing all these things as we've trademarked our heart skills programs. And so we're hoping that you can be part of all of the incredible work that we are doing. Join us today. Don't forget, we have our amazing back-to-school backpacking event, July 28th. Please visit our website at BeStrongIntl to learn more and join us. We have amazing sponsors like T-Mobile and Mosquito Joe that are coming and volunteering to fill backpacks for kids for their new school year. And so we're excited. We hope for you to join us and be a part of that. So today we have an amazing guest with us. She is the CEO of Amigos For Kids. Her name is Karina Pavone, and I'm just excited for her to be here with us. And so I want to share.
Hi, Michelle. It's great to be here with you. As you said, I'm the CEO of Amigos For Kids, and we're a Miami-based nonprofit organization that has been around for 32 years.
Nice.
And we work on our mission, which is prevention of child abuse and neglect through a wide variety of programs that help to empower children, strengthen families, and educate communities.
Yes, and I'm so glad to have you here. It's always a delight to have my nonprofit colleagues with us so we can share all the wonderful things that we're doing, because I really believe that even if someone may not feel connected to a particular cause, there are so many amazing nonprofits in Miami-Dade that are doing incredible work. And so I love showcasing organizations that I feel are just doing amazing things, and you are one of them. I forgot how we met. I'm trying to remember, how did we meet?
We met because of social Yaks. That's how we met.
That's a good thing. That means our game is doing really well. That's a good thing. Yes. Okay, awesome. Well, before we get into social Yaks, I want you to share a little bit about your career history. I know that when we spoke, you were you had just left Miami-Dade College. And so I'd love for you to share about your journey there, what you did there, and then we'll talk about your transition.
Yeah, so my transition into nonprofit actually, or my love of nonprofit work actually started before Miami-Dade College.
Nice.
So I'm a mental health counselor by education and experience. And I started early in my career working in community mental health centers, working with elderly and working with people with HIV and AIDS during a time when it was, the pandemic was raging. So it was very rewarding work, but it was very difficult work. I transitioned to Miami-Dade College shortly after 9/11. I was working at as a consultant for an employee assistance program. And when 9/11 happened, a lot of the clients were clients that were affected in New York, in D.C. And so it got, as a person in a helping profession, and I'm sure you know this, self-care is really important. And during that time, it was very difficult for everyone, I'm sure. But for me, working in that space, it was nonstop. So it was a traumatic exposure every day. So for my own self-care journey, I figured I need to do something completely different, and that I did. Okay. I went to work at Miami-Dade College, and most people think, Miami-Dade College, higher education, but my roles were completely non-traditional roles at Miami-Dade.
That's amazing.
I was not, I did not work on the credit side of the house. I started at Miami-Dade College at the School of Justice, doing testing for police, fire, and corrections personnel.
Okay.
And then I became the assessment center director and continued doing that for police agencies all throughout the state.
Wow.
And after about 8 years of doing that, I thought, okay, maybe I should transition into the business of education, right? So I went to work for the School of Continuing Education and Professional Development.
Nice.
Not credit. So this is all the non-credit part of the house, right? So it's the biggest school that Miami-Dade College has. There's a presence of continuing education on all 8 campuses and online. I was a chairperson for maybe about 6 or 7 years. And then my last year at the college, I spent as the associate dean for continuing education and professional development. But, maybe about a year into that role, a couple of things happened. My dad got very sick with cancer, and I thought, well, this might be a good time to take leave, right?
Yeah.
So I took leave, and then I realized, I think I want to go back to nonprofit. So I left the college in 2019, and by January 2020, so just 2 short months before the pandemic started, COVID-19, I became president and CEO of Amigos for Kids.
Wow.
But the story is kind of serendipitous of how I ended up at Amigos for Kids. So the co-founder of Amigos, Jorge Plasencia, is someone I've known for many, many years. We went to elementary school together. We went to high school together. And it was really strange because I always feel like the universe kind of,
Brought
it all together because I remember being at an event at Miami-Dade College and bumping into him.
Right.
He's involved with the Miami-Dade College Foundation. And we hadn't spoken in many, many years, so I didn't really know what was going on. And he had mentioned to me that his cousin, who had been the president and CEO of Amigos for Kids for 15 years, had suddenly passed away. And, that they had somebody interim and that they would probably be looking for someone in about a year. And I just completely put it out of my mind, didn't think about it. And shortly after I left the college, this position posted. So I felt like it was, everything was aligning to, to bring me to a place where, I really wanted to feel on purpose and, mission focused. And so that's how I ended up at Amigos for Kids 3.5 years ago.
Wow.
Yes. And my experience at the college was amazing. And I still have so many contacts there and so many wonderful colleagues that I've met through my journey at Miami-Dade. But I really felt like I wanted to be doing, work that was close to the people that were impacted. And my last role was very administrative, so I didn't feel like I was that connected. Yeah. So this was perfect timing. Everything aligned.
Oh my goodness, that's so amazing. Now tell me about your transition now. Here it is. You land this job that is like set up just for you, right? COVID.
Yeah, well,
Tell us about your experience there and how you navigated through some of those challenges.
Obviously, like everyone else, we didn't really know what was going to happen, right? So the first couple of weeks were like, okay, this will be over in a couple of weeks, and it could be business as usual, right? And that didn't happen. But in a way, it was good that I was new because I didn't have the attachment to the way things were being done before or the resistance of, oh, this is different. I don't know if this is going to work. I was new, so I was like, well, let's try it, right? Yeah, I mean, we have to sort of reinvent ourselves, right? So lots of things happened during that time. We transitioned, obviously, like everyone else, to virtual as much as we could. And I'm really proud of the fact that when many other nonprofits and providers simply shut their doors, we did not.
Yeah.
We stayed open. We transitioned to fully virtual, even our after-school program.
Yes.
We were taking assignments and materials to the kids at home, delivering materials at home, and then we were logging in with them online. It was an interesting experience because we never get to see, it was a small window into the home life of a child.
Yeah.
And you never get to see that in your regular after school program. So it was a good experience. It gave us perspective about what families that we were serving were like going through.
Yeah.
And then our parenting program also went virtual, and it was hard. It was really heartbreaking listening. It became like a support group.
Right.
You know, it was kind of heartbreaking listening to stories of families struggling, and it made us strengthen our resolve to, you know, to do more to help families. So we started a small program called Amigos Care. Started very humbly, you know, thinking, oh, families have food insecurity, then that's easy. Let's just get food to them.
Right.
So, you know, we decided, well, if the families can't come to us or can't go to drive-through food distributions because they don't have a vehicle, they use public transportation, then we're going to take the food to them. So, you know, obviously that's not a sustainable thing. I mean, it was great. We would all meet up at a warehouse, the volunteer staff. We'd get our routes for the day and start doing deliveries. And we thought, okay, we can't keep this up. So we got smart and we started using Shipt, which is kind of like Instagram, Instacart. And so we continued doing that. And then one of our loyal sponsors saw the work that we were doing and said, I want to help and I want to do more. And so for about a year, we were focusing on helping families that were struggling with, you know, with support from a private donor. And then I want to say it was a year and a half ago that we applied for funding to the Children's Trust, and we got funded through the FNSP initiative, you know, the Family Neighborhood Support Partnership. Yeah. So now it is a standalone program and has some sustainability. You know, we could do more than address food insecurity through that program.
So much more. Yeah.
So that's what the transition was like. And of course, we did lots of fun things virtually, and we didn't know what we were doing, but we just went for it. Exactly.
Right. Even with my team and just the experience that we had, and I love what you said, it's about taking those risks and saying, hey, let's just try it, right? Let's see what we could do to help these families, and whatever ideas come to the table, just do the best we can. And thank goodness that there were partners and colleagues and volunteers that all helped to support. COVID was just a time of beauty as well as it was of sadness with so many people passing away. But the beauty of people coming together and really saying, you know, let's just all chip in to help those that are in need was incredible. I want to ask you, though, like, what are some challenges since you're 3.5 years in, right? What are some challenges that you've seen just as a leader, like being in your role and running a nonprofit? Because I know it's very different from being in a larger institution where there's probably more support, administrative layers, and you have the teams and you have all these opportunities.
Right. I think for us, and I don't know how your experience has been, but for us, the biggest challenge has been hiring. Finding people. You know, in the nonprofit world, you know, people work for nonprofits because they believe in a mission, or they want to be, you know, part of something greater or contributing to the greater good. The salaries aren't always, you know, the salary, with the private sector, but. So that has been a huge challenge, is open positions and trying to find the right people committed to the organization and committed to the mission, and filling those roles. And, you know, when you have vacancies, and it limits what you can do, how much you can do. So that, to me, has been the biggest challenge.
What about you? Have you seen any... I was telling my team, like, I feel like this is a season of, like, great stretching, you know? So it's like, have you seen or felt within yourself, like, oh, man, I need to self-care, like, I'm doing too much, or, I'm easily, how have you,
Yes. So we're a small nonprofit, so I wear many hats, as many of my colleagues in our...
Chief Everything Officer.
Right, in the nonprofit world, but including my staff. You know, we all wear many hats, and and do different things. So one day I could be working in the warehouse, sorting toys, and
Right.
another day I could be here with you or doing an interview or writing a proposal. So I think two things. My philosophy is people first, but people first, and many times or quite often I forget about that I'm a people too.
Right.
So it's been difficult to, we want to do so many things, and we have all these lofty goals. And I've had to be really careful about not pushing my staff too hard, because they also need self-care and time, and they can also be overwhelmed as well. And then sometimes in the effort of doing that and I take things on myself.
Right.
So, that has been the biggest challenge, that balance, finding that balance.
So tell me about your other amazing accomplishments so far with Amigos for Kids, and how can people get involved? What amazing programs do you have now currently that people need to know about?
Well, I briefly spoke about Amigos Care that had its genesis during the pandemic, and it is a program that continues and helps families that are struggling with a variety of challenges. It could be financial, it could be legal, mental health, medical, special needs. So that program is a young program considering, the age of the organization. But we also have our Nurturing Parenting program, which is an initiative similar to, the one that you have at Be Strong. We serve more the Little Havana, Hialeah area, homestead with this program. But it's a 10-week program that is intended to improve or foster a more positive parent-child relationship. And especially with our Latino families, we have very candid conversations about using corporal punishment to address behavioral or to manage problem behavior with kids.
Right.
That's a very cultural thing, right? So we have some challenging conversations about the effectiveness of corporal punishment, the chancleta, the belt. And then speaking to parents about, or teaching them about child development and what works at different developmental stages, and what doesn't in terms of managing, any maladaptive or, behavior that you don't want to see, right? So that's a wonderful program because it includes both the parents and the kids.
That's beautiful.
And so they kind of come together after it's 10 sessions once a week, kind of come together after that and, talk about lessons learned and implement some of the knowledge gained, at home. Yeah. So that's one of our programs. And then our other program is our after school program for K through 5. Nice. Well, next school year is going to be K through 8.
Nice.
So that program, when I got to Amigos, started for many, many years, was only at Jose Marti Park, which is in Little Havana by the Miami River. And then 2 years ago, we added a site, Citrus Grove Elementary, and we serve about 100 students at Jose Marti Park and 75 students at Citrus Grove Elementary. Nice. And next year, we're going to have summer, and we're going to serve 6 through 8 also.
Nice.
So that's another one of our sort of core programs. But in addition to that, we have lots of other programming that we do throughout the year.
I know your toy drives are incredible.
Yeah, the toy drive.
I'm like, we need to partner.
Yes, of course. So the toy drive is, that's how the organization started. It started with a toy drive. And so this year is going to be our 32nd annual toy drive. So the organization started that way, just bringing holiday cheer to children that had either been affected by domestic violence or by child abuse and neglect. And so that's one of our programs. And, it's a wonderful program because not only do we get to bring that holiday cheer to families that are in our programs, but we partner with lots of other organizations who don't have this space. We have a wonderful partner with a warehouse who don't have the space, and we collect toys and deliver toys for them as well.
That's great.
We have programming around April, which is National Child Abuse Prevention Month. And we also have a back to school. Ours is going to be August 5th.
Okay, nice.
So,
All right,
yeah.
sounds good. Well, that's great. I mean, I love what you all are doing. I told you from the first time we met, I was like, oh my gosh, Karina, you're so sweet. I love you. I'm going to partner. You know, we're definitely interested in continuing how we've connected over the time that we've met since we first met. I just think what you're doing is incredible. So any way that we could help, be a part,
Absolutely.
and you've seen our office, so you know exactly where we are when you want to reach out. However, now we're going to shift a little bit to Social Yaks,
Yay.
which is a game that you are familiar with, right? And I feel like you have an incredible story that when you came to our office, we were just like, what? I think Juan and I, we were just like, oh my gosh, because we never thought or could imagine that the game would go as far as it did and move and create such an impact in the way that it did. So I hope you can share with our audience just a little bit of like what happened when you bought our game.
Okay, so I found your game online.
Right.
I was not familiar with Be Strong International, with Social Yaks, and I thought, oh, this looks interesting. So I started researching it a little bit and I ordered it. And I remember Juan from your staff actually called me and said, oh, I want to bring you the game.
Right.
So he brought the game over. I looked at it and I brought it home. I have two daughters, Natalia, my youngest, and my oldest, Olivia, who's 16 and has autism. So I shared the game with her therapist. You know, autism, one of the hallmarks of autism is impaired social functioning. So Olivia has to practice a lot what to do in social situations, how to turn take in conversation, how to start conversations. So I realized a lot of the work that the therapist was doing with her was in providing her with social prompts for asking other people questions, for starting conversations, or just conversation starters. So I showed her the game and she said, oh, these are wonderful prompts. Let's use them. So Olivia is not in therapy anymore, but up until the time that she finished therapy, they used Social Yaks to practice social skills and conversation skills.
So good, so good. I know, and I remember you telling me they took the game and they were all you heard in the room was like the
I just heard them laughing, and I knew that they were playing Social Yaks, and I just wanted to share that with you because I know that wasn't the intent of the game.
Right.
But it just goes to show you that, you know, you never know, and it has so many other applications, right?
Yeah. It was really encouraging to us. So thank you so much for sharing that. So we're going to play a little bit. We don't have a lot of time left, though. I always have my guests play a little bit of Social Yaks.
Okay.
So we're going to start with the first level, which is the polar bear breaking the ice. So we're going to break the ice. So I want you to pick a card, the blue card.
Okay.
Yeah, and read it aloud to the audience. And let's see.
If you had a superpower, what would it be? Okay, if I had a superpower, it would be the ability to stretch time. So that would
What is going on with that?
Well, I always feel like there's not enough time in the day to get all the things I want to do accomplished. So that would be if I had to choose a superpower, that would be it. I would stretch time, spend more time with loved ones, get more things off my to-do list.
I'm just laughing at all the effects of like how like summer probably wouldn't come because you've stretched time so much. Like everything would be off, harvesting would be off. Like it's so funny you said that.
That would be my
But that's just me probably being too deep. Oh yeah. Okay, so we can play another one, another round if you want to take
one of these. Okay.
Going a little bit deeper. Get social.
Okay, which famous person in history would you want to spend the day with? I know this is going to sound like I'm geeking out over here, but I would love to spend the day with Sigmund Freud. I have to imagine.
It's because of your background. It's because of your background. You're just like, I just want to know
what was he thinking? I just want to know. Yes.
That's your background talking there. That's
absolutely.
So cute.
What
That's
about
so
you?
Cute. Okay, so she switched it on me. this might sound cliche, but I was interviewed by someone and they were asking me like, what is your mind on right now? And I said to them, my mind right now is focused on legacy. And I don't know why, one night late when I can't sleep, I'm always on YouTube. And somehow Martin Luther King pulls up and I see his wife. At the time, it was a 60-minute special, and it was Christmas time, and she was talking about what their house felt like without Martin Luther King being there. And so I thought about, man, it would be so cool to just spend a day with him, to really get his mind around what was happening at that time and how he was feeling and how he was able to persevere through so much negativity and just, so many things that were happening. So I would just
rise above.
Love to spend the day with him. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's me. All right. So digging deeper.
Okay.
I'm going to pass this one to you there. This is where it gets deep.
What are you most afraid of? Oh my God. I am most afraid. I told you before we started, I am most afraid of cockroaches. I cannot. And it's crazy because when I see one, I'll start screaming like a banshee, right? And my children have learned that too. So
who kills it?
It's my husband. I don't even want to see it.
But what if he's not there?
Well, then I have to do it. But I scream and I'm like, oh, the whole time,
Yeah.
And my children are running away, screaming, both my girls.
Everybody's
so it's all three girls running away, screaming. My husband, like, oh my goodness,
the drama.
The dog getting excited, like, what's happening? Why is everyone screaming? So I had to say cockroaches. I cannot
That
deal
is
with cockroaches.
Funny.
No.
If I see, it's funny because my husband's the same way, but if I happen to see one, it's like the spray.
Oh, like, yeah, you just drown it.
Oh, yeah, and then my husband's like, he's dead already. You don't need any more.
Yes.
But I'm like,
just making sure.
He's like, really?
I can't.
There's this joke
I know, and it's
about
terrible
like,
because
how they're swimming in it because it's so much.
Or how they adapt. They get immune to it.
No, it's the cheap ones that they get immune to. I feel like there's like cheap versions that you just should not get. They're not going to go down.
They're not going to do the trick, right? So that is it.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh. All right. So I'm going to end with our last level. The way we've structured this game is in a way where we decided that on the last level, because you've given out so much and you've shared so much, and if you're playing it in a group setting, so many people share so many amazing things. The last level is more about kind of filling your cup again and just putting that seal on it and just having other people encourage you. So it flips a little bit. Some people don't know that, so they buy the game and they play it wrong, and we're like, no, we didn't realize. Right, yeah. So use wisdom. So it basically says, what is one thing that you believe I should be grateful for and why? And you would have read this, but I know it's far of a stretch. So I believe you should be grateful for how everything in your life has just aligned for you to this moment. I think that even though we come into new spaces and there can always be challenges, I just feel you don't have to worry about everything always works itself out. So just be grateful in knowing, like, if I've started here and I landed here, I'm just going to be grateful in knowing that everything is just going to work itself out. I don't have to stress. I don't have to worry. Because if I didn't even have to look for this job and have to really, people out there have to really look and hope that their connections can bring them to a job, and that didn't happen for you. So I would just encourage you to be grateful for how it's always aligns for you, and everything's going to be fine. Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you for that.
So that's my words for you. I want you to share now with the audience how they can reach you. How can they reach Amigos for Kids? If they want to donate, if they want to volunteer, how do they find you?
Well, they can visit our website, Amigos For Kids, amigosforkids.org, or they can call our office, 305-279-1155. They can reach out to us by email, info@amigosforkids.org. And we would love to have anyone that wants to get involved. We're looking for volunteers, as I know you are as well, for our back to school event to pack backpacks and school supplies for the kiddos. So anybody that's interested in joining us for that, we're happy to have you.
Yes, that's amazing. Well, that concludes our show. We are thankful that you have tuned in to the Be Strong show. We want you to be encouraged today. We know that our world needs love, and you are an essential part of our world, and you deserve to be loved. So just know that. We love you. We wish you the best at Be Strong International, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.